What is a contingency in a real estate contract? Better yet, why would you care? Hi, my name is Mike Lavoy. I am a realtor here in the Tampa Bay area with Dalton Real Estate. My wife Paula and I help people, buyers and sellers, throughout the Tampa Bay area. If this is your first time visit, please click on the subscribe button down in the corner. Hit the notification bell as well if you would like to be notified of our next video. If you like this video, click on the little thumb button thing down there. You know how to do it. It helps us out. So contingency on a real estate offer to purchase is a way for the buyer to legally terminate that contract.
You are terminated.
And get your earnest money back. In Florida, there are probably 7 or 8 different contingencies. Some of them are part of the contract. Some of them are added by addendum. One that's out there would be similar. Would be if you owned your own house right now, you wanted to, you out looking at houses, you fell in love with this particular house, you make an offer on that house contingent upon you selling your current house. That's a contingency. That's also probably not a contingency the seller is going to accept, because in the seller's market that we have right now, that seller would have to take his or her house off the market.
It's starting to feel like a bad idea.
While you are selling your house. In that case, it might be better if you had your house listed and under contract, then made the offer to the to the seller of the new house. That would make it much more acceptable to the seller. There are 3 basic, commonly used contingencies in the area in Florida. One of those would be the inspection contingency. An inspection contingency is basically that you are allowed to bring any number of inspectors, mold, household, just a general inspector, termite, WDO inspector, any of those professional inspectors out to the new house to look at it within that time frame. That period, that time frame, by default is 15 days, but you can make it anything you want to from 0 to 15. The shorter the time frame, the better the more apt the seller's going to like it, because it limits your ability for you to get out of that contract. You could also waive that contingency altogether. The problem with that is that if you buy the house and there's something major wrong with it, it's yours. You would assume that risk. I would never do that. The second most commonly used is the appraisal contingency. On the appraisal, if you are borrowing money, if you're making a loan for the house, that mortgage company is going to want an appraisal. They're going to have somebody go out there and say, okay, this house is worth X. They will not lend you more than what that appraisal comes out to be. They want to make sure the house is worth what you're borrowing. So the appraisal comes back and it can be at value, which means that it was, at the value of the purchase price of the house. It could be higher and it could be lower. If it's lower, then you need to go back and talk to the seller about, hey, there are some options. We can either negotiate a lower price. We could pay cash. The buyer could pay cash out of his pocket to make up that difference. We could go back, and if the appraisal we think it's wrong, we can appeal that appraisal. It doesn't happen often. We have done it maybe once or twice, but we can appeal the appraisal. The last and probably not the best option is to cancel the contract. And if you do it during that loan commitment time, which is stipulated in the contract, you have the right to get your deposit back, but you have to stay within that period of time.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
The third is the loan commitment. When you are out in today's market, you really need to get pre-approved. The seller will not accept your offer without a pre-approval. The pre-approval says that you have gone through some basic background, that the lender is willing to lend you X number of dollars, but it is not a guarantee of a loan. It's not a loan commitment. To get the loan commitment, you have to go through the whole process with the lender, and then you will get a statement that says, yes, we are ready to do this. Well, if you go down the road and something happens and you don't get that loan commitment from the lender, you could, if you're outside of this, your loan commitment period, you run the risk of losing your escrow. So you want to be sure that you are pushing the loan department, your loan officer, along and getting him the information that he requests from you, so you do not violate that commitment time, that contingency time, and run the risk of losing your deposit. The fourth that we like to use, it's not used that often, is the insurance commitment. Especially if you are on water and you have to get flood insurance. The insurance contingency says that if you can't get insurance, or if the insurance is a higher premium than X, whatever you define in that contract, that will also allow you to terminate that contract and get your deposit back. On the water with flood insurance in Florida, sometimes that can be pretty expensive. And if you are not able to get it at a reasonable price, that will allow you to get out. The contingencies are there to protect the buyer as well as the seller. The buyer needs a couple of ways out, and that's how we protect you and help you get your deposit back if something goes wrong between the offer date and the closing time. If you have any questions on contingencies, jot them down below. I will get back to you as soon as I can. Again, if you're our first-time visitor, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. We will notify you when our next video pops up. And if you liked what I said in the video, remember, click on the little thumb thing down here. It does help us with our, I think it's SEO. If you're looking at buying a house, talk to me. I will be happy to help you. My name is Mike Lavoy. I am with Dalton Real Estate. Thanks for listening.